Hi, I'm Gina, and I'm here today for a walk down memory lane, and we're going to be talking about misting today. I just have a few different colors of mist here with me today. This one is the one I use the most, probably. It's called Coffee Shop, and it's by Tattered Angels. And then I also have pink bubblegum, and then I also grabbed a Maya mist called Antique Silver, and I really like this one. I just got it recently, and I've been using it a lot. There's a lot of other brands that have mist as well. They're all great, and Lisa carries a lot of them, so you should just try them all out and decide which one you like the best. And we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the different things that you can do with mist today. And we're just going to brush the surface. There are so many different things you could do. I could do an hour-long tutorial probably, but we'll try to keep it a little bit shorter than that. So let's go ahead and get started. Whenever you're misting, you're going to want to make sure that you have your surface covered up with something. I usually like to use a big sheet of newsprint, but I'm all out of that, so I have my mat that I've been using here for a while. It's actually just a shoebox lid from my husband's gigantic shoes. It's plenty big enough for me. I did notice in the shop, though, that Lisa has these fabulous things called color catchers that have 3 sides on them. They're big enough for your 12 by 12 sheet, and they're like $4 or $5. I'm definitely going to have to get one of those. So we're going to get started, and we're going to start off with something really simple. I just have a plain sheet of cardstock here, and if you've seen many of my layouts, you know I kind of like the messy look. So I'm just going to grab my Coffee Shop Glimmer Mist here, and whenever you shake up your Glimmer Mist, or any type of mist, you're going to notice that it's got all the glimmery stuff on the bottom. You just want to tap it against your hand until that's all mixed up. If you shake it up really hard, you're likely to clog your spritzer, and then it won't work anymore. So just kind of tap it against your hand there until you can't see any more clumps. And then, like I said, we're going to start off really simple. And my favorite way to do this is to just kind of squirt in some random places. Not really going to have any rhyme or reason. Maybe do a little bit heavier down in one corner. And that's it. You just leave it like that. You could also, if you like the really messy look, you can take your lid off, make sure there's some mist on there, and then just kind of shake it around until you get some splatters. You can do that with a paintbrush as well, if you'd rather do that, to get some bigger, more controlled splatters. And that is probably the thing that I do with my Glimmer Mist 90% of the time, is I just spray it on my background. No real rhyme or reason, just for a little bit of added color and messy look. Then you're just going to want to set it aside and let it dry. But there's lots of other things you can do as well. Grabbed another sheet of cardstock here, and let's talk about masking a little bit. You can use pretty much anything that will cover up your paper to mask. This is a little chipboard heart. I wanted to show you that you don't need to be afraid to use something to mask just because you might want to use it later. So I'm going to set it up there in the corner and then just shake up my bubblegum mist here. And then spray it. You don't need to be afraid to use things that you'll still want to use later, because I'm not going to use my chipboard like that anyway. Maybe I'll like it this color and I'll leave it the pink color. Maybe I'll want to cover it with paper or paint it, but whatever reason, I'm not going to want to use the plain chipboard. So there's no problem using it to mask at all. And then you can also layer. If I lay that down again and then spray a little bit more, I'll cover up my first heart a little bit, but you'll still be able to see it. And now I'll have a second heart as well. See? So those are some fun little things you can do. I'm going to let that one dry also, and just keep going. That's masking using a positive shape. You could also hand cut things. You can use things you've punched out, or these stars I cut out on my silhouette. Those work great for a mask as well. I've actually already used these two for a mask, so they're trying to curl up on me a little bit. which is okay. It just might not be quite as defined a star, which I think could also be fun. So we'll just see how that looks. And that also leads me into another point. A lot of people worry about, yeah, see, those are fun. They're just not as defined, but I still really like them. A lot of people worry about their paper curling. You can see how this one's starting to do it when they use mist. I have heard, now I haven't tried this, so don't hold me to this, but I've heard that if you use a damp paper towel and rub it on the back of your cardstock before you spray, that helps with the curling a lot. I really don't worry about it too much. If it curls too badly, then once I'm done with my layout, I'll just stick it under a heavy book for a while, and that usually takes care of the problem. There are also products you can purchase commercially. Lots of different companies make masks. This particular one is a compass mask by Tim Holtz. And these ones, you have to be careful when you first open them, because a lot of these little tiny pieces might stick in your mask, and you're going to have to go through and make sure that they're all out. And I know you can't really see that, but that's what the mask looks like. I'm just going to lay it up here in my corner, and you can kind of press it down, and it'll make sure that it sticks to your paper. And we'll shake up our mist here until there's no more clumpies on the bottom. I'm also going to show you at the end, I'm going to show you some finished products so you'll get an idea of what it looks like afterwards. And then after you've used your mask, you can do this before or after you take it off. You just kind of dab your mask and it'll come right off. It'll be all clean again. And then you just carefully take it off and you've got your nice shape there. Very pretty. Then they just go back in their package. You can buy all sorts of different masks. Like I said, this is just a little compass one. I also have right here some border mask by Tim Holtz. And there's, usually if you buy a pack like this, pretty good value because this particular one has 4 in it. It was only $3 for all of those masks. And you can just use those over and over again. So those are really fun. You can also save your chipboard pieces after you've used the chipboard. See, I've used all the chipboard out of this one. You can save that, and I've covered up the parts I don't want with some old mail, and then I can just use it for this bracket shape. So we'll just put it down over here and spray it a little bit. I'll use this one still. We'll just spray it. And then I have that negative space so that I actually mask in my bracket shape there. But don't just constrain yourself to scrapbooking products or things that you can purchase. One of my favorite things to use when I'm masking is actually my Pampered Chef cooling rack right here. And I like to use this for backgrounds. I've actually already done it on the back of this paper, but I just pop the legs up and turn it upside down and then set it down on there however you want it. Just give it a few spritzes. Like I said, anything that's going to cover up part of your paper and that you can wash or throw away, you can use as a mask. And see, that makes a really cool design that I can use for the background of a layout. But don't just think that you have to stick to cardstock either. A lot of companies now have embossed paper or paper that already has a raised design on it. This particular one's by Pink Paisley. I've already gone ahead and done some of it. But you can see how these doilies are kind of shiny. It's because they're raised and embossed. And if you take your mist and spray it on here, let's use the pink. We'll get a little more color in here. And then just for some fun, we'll squirt in a little more of the Antique Silver Maya mist. And then I'm going to take my napkin and just blot off these doilies. And they have resisted the mist. So it just comes right off of them and stays on the background. And that way I still have my design, but then the background has some fun color to it. You can also do things like this yourself using your stamps and some clear embossing powder. But that's something that we'll talk about in a different tutorial. So make sure you make use of all of the fun things that the scrapbooking world has to offer now. These papers, just take advantage of everything. Play around with it and don't be afraid of making mistakes, because really anything goes. I am gonna, like I said, I'm gonna show you some finished products here. This little your own style.
And I'll just show you a few layouts here so you can get an idea of what the finished product might look like.
This is a really simple one. Just sprayed the back a little bit right behind my title with a light so that it would make my title stand out a little bit more. I used circles on to mask with, and then I added some buttons and a circle sticker up around it. You can also use stickers to mask. Just kind of put it on your jeans first and then peel it off and stick it on your paper, and that way it won't stick too much and rip your paper. This is a finished layout that I used the bracket on, so you can see it there kind of framing my paper. This layout is a little more understated because I used some orange mist on top of the orange cardstock. I just used some leftover paper that I had punched circles out of, laid it up over the top, and then sprayed around it. This layout, the pink was really bright, so I wanted to tone it down a little bit, so I sprayed brown over the entire thing. Then I made a scalloped edge with half circles that I had just punched out up at the top first and used those for a mask. And this is another one where I just sprayed kind of randomly and then did some big splotches and patches as well. And then up in this corner, I used a star punch to do some masking and then added some stars on as well. And lastly, I used some punched out hearts on this one to spray on the background and mask. And then I added some of the hearts, doodled, and finished my layout. So there you have it. There are lots and lots of different ways that you can use mist. Don't limit yourself to any one idea. Keep trying things out. I find new ways to use them all the time, and they are a lot of fun. So I can't wait to see what you do with them. Thanks for joining us